I feel like everything is going to be okay now.
I know. I know. Me too.
Hey, are you coming to dinner tonight, or should I order for one? I asked, leaning against the doorway. Emma glanced up from her phone, a distracted smile flickering across her face. Oh, yeah. I guess I'll join you in a minute. I frowned, noticing the hesitation. A minute? You've been saying that for the last half hour. She laughed softly, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. I just had some things to finish, that's all. I stuttered her, trying to read the subtle tension. You seem distant lately. Is everything okay? Emma looked away, pretending to be absorbed in the screen. I'm fine, really. Don't worry so much. I sighed, forcing a smile. I just want to make sure we are okay. That's all. Her friend Sarah had dropped by earlier, and I couldn't help but notice her lingering glance at Emma when she spoke. Sarah had this way of planting doubts without saying much directly. You know, Sarah had said with a sly smile, sometimes it's better not to settle for comfort if you can have excitement. Emma had laughed nervously, her fingers fiddling with her coffee cup. Maybe you're right, she had whispered. I shook off the unease crawling up my spine. I trusted her. I always had. Emma, I love you. That hasn't changed. She looked at me, her eyes warm but slightly clouded. I know. I love you too. Later that evening, I found myself replaying Sarah's words in my mind. Excitement over comfort. I muttered under my breath. What does that even mean? Emma entered the kitchen, leaning casually against the counter. You're thinking too much again, she said with a teasing grin. Maybe, I admitted. But I can't shake the feeling that something's off. You've been distant. She sighed, a faint hint of frustration in her voice. I just have a lot on my mind. Work, life, nothing to do with you. I wanted to believe her, and I did, at least, I tried. Then let me help you with it. Talk to me. I'm here. Emma hesitated, her eyes darting briefly toward the living room where Sarah had been earlier. I'll think about it, she said softly. I nodded, masking my concern. That's all I ask. Later, when I sat alone with a glass of whiskey, I reflected on our life. Everything seemed perfect from the outside. A beautiful home, successful careers, and what I thought was a loving marriage. But now, little cracks were appearing. Missed calls, vague answers, distracted smiles. I whispered to myself, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt, just one more time. The next morning, Emma came into the kitchen, hair messy and eyes tired. Morning, she mumbled, pouring herself a cup of coffee. Morning, I said. Sleep well. She shrugged, barely meeting my gaze. Yeah, okay, I guess. I wanted to press her, but I stopped. Patience had always been my strength, and I reminded myself, love wasn't about control, it was about trust. Still, as I watched her leave for work, I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling gnawing at me. I trusted her completely, but something in her glance lingered too long, something Sarah had whispered too softly for me to catch fully. And deep down, I knew this was just the beginning. Emma, can we talk for a minute? I asked as she entered the living room, her phone still in her hand. She glanced up quickly, a flicker of something unreadable in her eyes. Sure, what is it? I motioned for her to sit. I've noticed you've been staying late at work a lot. And these constant messages. You're distracted. Emma laughed lightly, brushing it off. It's nothing. Work's busy. You know that. I know work is busy, but it's not just that. I feel like you're pulling away. She looked down at her phone again, fingers scrolling nervously. I'm not pulling away. I just have a lot on my mind. Nothing to do with you. I shook my head, trying to keep my voice calm. Then help me understand. I can't read your mind, Emma. She finally met my gaze, eyes soft but evasive. I'm fine, really. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. I echoed, my heart tightening. Emma, this isn't just me overthinking. I feel it, and I need you to be honest with me. Her lips pressed together, a shadow of guilt crossing her face. I am honest. I just can't explain everything right now. I leaned forward. You can. I want to understand. I love you, and I don't want to lose that connection. Emma sighed, looking away. I know you do, and I love you too. But some things I just can't talk about yet. I felt a knot in my chest. Yet? Emma, if it's important, now is the time. She hesitated, then quickly said, I'll tell you later. Please, just trust me for now. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to trust her completely, but a nagging doubt crept in. All right. I'll try. That night, I couldn't sleep. The quiet house felt heavier than usual. Then I heard the faint sound of her talking, whispering, almost like she didn't notice me. I just can't help thinking about it, a male voice said softly. Emma responded, I know, but it's complicated. My stomach dropped. I recognized the voice instantly. Mark, her colleague, the one she often mentioned casually. Complicated. I whispered to myself, my hands trembling. I stayed hidden in the doorway, listening. You really think he likes me? Emma's voice sounded unsure, almost playful. I do, Mark replied. I can't stop thinking about you either. My chest tightened painfully. No, this can't be happening, I muttered. I stepped back silently, letting them continue, my mind racing. Betrayal had a face now, and it was unmistakable. The next morning, I tried to act normal. Morning, I said, pouring my coffee. Morning, she replied, smiling faintly. I took a deep breath. We need to talk about last night. Emma's eyes widened slightly. Last night? What about last night? I overheard your call with Mark. She froze. Oh, that. I held up my hand. Emma, I'm not yelling. I just need you to be honest. Did you like him? She looked down, biting her lip. It's complicated. I didn't mean for it to happen. I felt a lump in my throat. You didn't mean for what to happen? Emma, this is serious. I can't just ignore it. I know, she whispered, tears welling in her eyes. I messed up. I'm sorry. I closed my eyes, trying to steady my voice. I need to decide what to do. But I'm giving you a chance, just one. You need to prove me right, Emma. Prove that our love can survive this. She nodded quickly. I will. I swear I'll fix this. I looked at her, searching her eyes for truth. I hope you mean it. I really do. Later, alone in the kitchen, I poured myself a drink, my hand shaking. One chance, I whispered. One chance to make this right. My heart ached, but part of me still clung to hope. Love had carried me this far. I refused to let betrayal destroy everything without seeing if redemption was possible. Even as I replayed the whispered words in my mind, I reminded myself, I trusted her once, and I could try again. But my patience had limits, and deep down, I knew this first warning could become the beginning of something much darker. Emma, do you want to go out tonight? Just us, I asked as she sat on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She looked up, surprise flickering across her face. Out. Like, dinner. Yeah, dinner. Maybe a movie afterward. No distractions, no phones, just us, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Emma hesitated, then smiled faintly. I'd like that. I haven't done that in a while. I nodded, relief washing over me. Good. We need this. We need time to talk without everything else getting in the way. She leaned back, brushing a strand of hair from her face. I know. I'll try to make it work. At the restaurant, I reached across the table and took her hand. Emma, I want to rebuild us. I know I've been patient, but I also need honesty. Can we do that? She squeezed my hand, eyes soft. I want that too. I really do. Then no more secrets. No more hiding things, I said firmly. Emma nodded. No more hiding. I promise. For a moment, it felt like old times, the way we used to laugh and talk for hours. I felt hope stir in my chest, cautious but real. A few days later, she suggested a movie night at home. I'll make dinner, she said. You don't have to, I said, but she smiled. I want to. Dinner was quiet at first, but the conversation flowed eventually. I missed this, she admitted, stirring her pasta. I missed us, I said softly. I want to make this right, Emma. I really do. She looked down, then back at me. I want that too, more than anything. For a while, I allowed myself to believe it. I even laughed at her silly jokes, felt warmth in her touch. But then, subtle signs returned, late replies to my texts, disappearing during calls, that distracted look in her eyes. One night, I heard a familiar notification ping on her phone while she slept. My heart sank when I saw Mark's name flash on the screen. I tried to ignore it, but curiosity gnawed at me. Later, while she was in the shower, I hesitated, then read the messages. Can't stop thinking about you tonight. I wish you were here. Miss you. My chest tightened painfully. No, not again, I whispered. I sat in the living room, shaking. My mind raced, heart pounding. Love battled anger, hope clashed with disbelief. Could I trust her again? Could I give her another chance? When Emma came out, towel wrapped around her hair, I didn't hide the phone. Emma, what is this? I asked, voice trembling. She froze, eyes wide. It's not what it looks like. Not what it looks like. I snapped, though I tried to stay calm. Emma, these are messages. Late at night. Secret messages. Don't lie to me. I made a mistake, she said, tears brimming. I didn't mean to hurt you. It happened, and Do you even understand what this does to me? I asked, my voice breaking. Do you know how it feels to see someone you love betray you? I do, she whispered, her shoulders shaking. I'm sorry. I swear I'll fix it. I'll change. Please, don't give up on me. I looked at her, torn. My love wanted to forgive, my pride wanted to pull away, my sense of justice demanded honesty. The room felt heavy with tension. Emma, I'll give you another chance, I said finally, my voice low but firm. But this is it. No more mistakes. If you betray me again, there's no going back. She nodded frantically, clutching my hands. I swear. I won't. Please, trust me. Just one more chance. I studied her face, searching for sincerity. Her eyes glistened with tears, and for a moment, I believed her. But a small, nagging doubt lingered. I couldn't ignore the fear that history might repeat itself. Over the next few days, I watched her carefully, noting how she answered calls, how she replied to messages, how she carried herself around me. I wanted to see proof, not just hear promises. During one quiet evening, I said, Emma, do you remember the first warning? She nodded, eyes wide. I remember. Then you know why I'm cautious. I love you, but I can't ignore what's already happened. She squeezed my hand. I understand. And I'll prove it. You'll see. I wanted to believe her. I really did. I reminded myself that love wasn't about punishment. It was about hope, patience, and the chance to grow together. Still, late at night, when the house was silent, I replayed the messages in my mind, felt the sharp sting of betrayal, and wondered if my heart could survive another disappointment. I whispered to myself, this is the second chance. I have to hope she deserves it, or I'll regret trusting her forever. I arrived home earlier than expected from the business trip, my suitcase still in hand. The house was quiet, almost too quiet. Emma. I called softly. No answer. I stepped into the living room and froze. There she was, Mark, sitting close on the couch, their knees brushing. Her laughter rang through the room, light, carefree, and utterly wrong. Did you really think I'd wait for you to come back? Mark whispered, leaning closer. Emma giggled nervously, glancing around. I thought maybe. I clenched my fists, trying to control the rage that surged through me. Thought maybe what? I demanded, my voice cutting through the air. They both jumped, eyes wide. Emma stammered. I didn't know you'd be back so soon. You didn't know? Emma, my voice shook, a mix of disbelief and fury. Do you have any idea what this looks like? Mark opened his mouth, but I silenced him with a glare. Don't. Just don't. Emma looked down, shame flashing across her face. I wanted to tell you, but I didn't know how. We We were going to run away together while you were gone. I felt my heart shatter into pieces. Run away? Emma, how could you even think that? She swallowed hard. I don't know. I was so confused, and Mark, he said he understood me. My mind raced, every memory of trust and hope twisting into betrayal. Confused. Emma, I gave you 2 chances. I trusted you. How could you? I know, she cried, tears streaming down her cheeks. I know I've hurt you. I never meant for it to go this far. I thought I could fix it before you found out. I shook my head, barely holding back my anger. Fix it? You're planning a life behind my back. Do you even hear yourself? I do, she whispered, voice breaking. I hear myself. And I'm sorry. Please, just listen to me. I turned to leave the room, my chest tight, hands trembling. I don't know if I can, Emma. I can't just forgive this. Matt, our colleague who had been visiting earlier, appeared awkwardly at the doorway. I didn't mean to see anything. Matt, leave, I said, voice cold. You didn't see anything you're supposed to. He nodded quickly, retreating, leaving me alone with the chaos of my life. Emma followed me, pleading, please. I can explain. I can make it right. I'll do anything. I stopped and faced her, trying to find the man I used to be, the one who would forgive, who would believe in love despite pain. But that man was gone. Emma, do you know what this feels like? To be betrayed, not once, but 3 times? To watch the person you trusted most plan to leave you for someone else. Her tears fell freely now. I know. I feel it too. I'm so sorry. Please. I'm begging you to forgive me. I shook my head slowly, feeling a mixture of sorrow and fiery rage. Forgive you? Emma, this isn't just a mistake. This is a choice. And choices have consequences. She reached for my hand, desperate. I'll face the consequences with you. I'll do anything to fix this. I pulled my hand back. No. You'll face them alone. I need time. I need space. I need to think. She fell to the couch, burying her face in her hands. Please, don't leave me. Not like this. I walked to the study, sat at the desk, and stared at the papers I had brought back from the trip. Divorce papers. My heart ached, but my mind was clear. I wouldn't confront her immediately, not yet. I wanted her to see the gravity of her actions, to feel the consequences of choices she had made so easily. I whispered to myself, this is it. No more chances. No more hope for redemption. Late that night, I overheard her pacing in the living room. I don't know how to fix this. I've ruined everything. Mark's voice came softly through the phone speaker. You'll figure it out. Just be careful. My chest tightened. Careful. Emma, this is what careful has led to. Lies, betrayal, everything gone. I sat back, closing my eyes. Rage and sorrow tangled inside me. I had loved her, trusted her, and now all that remained was heartbreak. Yet beneath it, a part of me stirred, a desire for justice, for karma to balance what she had shattered. I whispered again, this time with cold resolve, she'll see what she's lost, and it will be too late. The night dragged on, and I didn't speak to her. I didn't need to. Every whispered word, every secret plan, every choice she had made was enough to shatter the fragile bond that had once held us together. I leaned back in my chair, gripping the edge of the desk, and allowed the grief to wash over me. The man I had been, the trusting, patient husband, was gone. What remained was clarity. Betrayal had drawn a line, and nothing could cross it. I would watch. I would wait. And when the time came, I would act. I didn't answer her calls. I didn't reply to texts. I stopped checking the door for her. Instead, I focused on work, letting deadlines and meetings drown out the chaos she had left behind. Another coffee. Claire asked, sliding a mug across my desk. Thanks, I muttered, my eyes glued to the screen. She leaned in slightly, voice soft. You've been quiet lately. You're not avoiding everyone, are you? I gave a short laugh, bitter. You could say that. Just, some people I don't want to talk to anymore. She tilted her head. Fair enough. But don't shut yourself off completely. Not even from friends. I'll manage, I said, sipping the coffee. The warmth felt good, but it couldn't reach the emptiness Emma had left. The first week alone was hard. I walked past the places we used to go together, remembering her laugh, the way her hand fit in mine. Each memory stabbed at me. But I didn't call. I didn't beg. I held my silence as tightly as I held my pride. One evening, I saw her at a nearby cafe through the window, talking to someone, laughing nervously. She spotted me, eyes wide. I didn't move. I let her panic settle in, just like it had settled in me when I discovered the betrayal. Emma, I whispered to myself. See what silence does. At work, Claire noticed the change in me. You seem sharper. Focused. Better than before. Maybe I've finally had enough distraction, I said quietly. She smiled, a small, knowing smile. Distraction can be dangerous, but it can also be freeing. I found myself opening up to her slowly, sharing little victories, small frustrations, things I hadn't told anyone else. Her presence was steady, comforting without overstepping. It felt safe. Meanwhile, I heard through mutual colleagues that Emma was asking questions, trying to find out where I went, who I was seeing, if I had moved on. I didn't answer. I let the rumors swirl. She's asking about you again, one colleague said casually. Seems worried. I leaned back, expression calm. Let her worry. She made her choices. The days turned into weeks. Emma's calls went unanswered. Her texts left unread. I watched, quietly, as she tried to regain control, only to realize she had none over me. One afternoon, Claire handed me a document I needed for a meeting. You're handling this like a pro. I admire it. I glanced at her, half smiling. Thanks. It's therapeutic, in a way. Focusing on work. She nodded. I get that. Sometimes, silence is stronger than words. Her words hit me harder than she knew. I thought of Emma, of Mark, of all the lies and broken promises. Silence had become my weapon, patience my shield. Watching her flounder from a distance was oddly satisfying, though I didn't want to admit it aloud. That night, alone in my apartment, I scrolled through emails, checked schedules, planned meetings. Each notification reminded me that I had a life to live, one she couldn't touch, no matter how desperately she tried. A ping on my phone startled me. Emma. My finger hovered over the screen. I breathed slowly. Then I deleted the notification without opening it. I can't yet, I whispered. Not now. Claire's voice came in my memory. Silence can be stronger than words. I smiled faintly, letting it settle in. I wasn't cruel. I wasn't seeking vengeance in rage. I was reclaiming myself. The power had shifted subtly, almost invisibly, but unmistakably. Another week passed. Emma's presence faded from my daily life. I noticed the empty spaces where she used to be, the absence of her messages, her touch, her laughter. And yet, I didn't feel hollow anymore. I felt steady, in control. One evening, Claire asked, "Ever think about moving on?" I paused. Maybe. But it's not about moving on yet. It's about standing firm. She nodded, understanding. And you are. You really are. I let her words sink in. I thought of Emma, frantic, desperate, realizing what she had lost. I felt a pang of lingering love, yes, but also immense pride. I had given her chances, more than anyone should. Now, watching her unravel from a distance, I realized that my silence was enough. She would learn, painfully, that some choices have consequences that even love can't erase. And as I closed my laptop that night, the apartment quiet around me, I whispered again to myself, firm and unwavering, let her realize what she lost. Let her understand the cost of betrayal. My life, my peace, will not be hers to ruin again. I stayed silent. That had become my shield, my weapon, my escape from the chaos Emma had brought. Her calls went unanswered, her messages unread. And slowly, very slowly, karma began to take shape. She's asking for you again, Claire said over lunch, raising an eyebrow. I shrugged. Let her ask. I've made my choice. Claire nodded, understanding. It must be satisfying to just Watch. It is, I admitted quietly. Not because I want her to suffer. Because she made her bed. She has to lie in it. Through mutual friends, I started hearing the ripple of consequences. Emma's boss had noticed her distracted behavior, the missed deadlines, the whispers of scandal around her. I don't know what's happening with Emma, one colleague said. She used to be so reliable. Now she's different. I sipped my coffee, expression neutral. People get caught up in their own mistakes. It happens. One evening, Claire mentioned a family gathering she'd attended. Emma was there too. She didn't have the warmest reception. Friends were cold, distant. I felt a faint pang, not for Emma, but for the reality of the choices she had made. That's what happens when trust is broken repeatedly. You can't just expect forgiveness forever. A week later, I received an email from a mutual acquaintance. Emma's project at work had been reassigned. They say her boss lost confidence in her judgment, Claire read aloud beside me. Not my problem, I said softly, letting the words fall easily. I didn't gloat. I didn't have to. Justice had a way of catching up without my interference. Still, I felt the subtle satisfaction of watching the balance shift. Emma, frantic and unprepared, scrambling to regain stability, while I had steadied myself. The house I once shared with her was silent, but inside me, there was order, clarity, and a sense of moral high ground. That evening, Claire looked at me thoughtfully. It's strange, isn't it? You're still human, still hurt, but you're not bitter in the way most would be. I'm not sure it's about bitterness, I said, rubbing my temples. It's about principle, about knowing when to act and when to wait. She's facing the consequences herself. I don't need to inflict them. Claire smiled faintly. Some would call that strength. I let her words linger. Strength, patience, composure, they weren't easy. Every day, every interaction with people who knew our past reminded me of what had happened. Friends asked questions. Family offered gentle concern. Are you okay? My brother asked one night. I nodded. I'm better than okay. I'm steady. I've let go of what I can't control. I've reclaimed my life. He studied me, then said quietly, I always admired your patience, even when I hurt you. I had to, I said. Not for her. Not for Mark. For me. To make sure I didn't lose myself in anger or grief. Meanwhile, Emma's calls began to change tone. No longer pleading, no longer casual. They were desperate, tinged with fear and regret. But I didn't respond. Not yet. I let her discover the power of absence. She left a voicemail, Claire said one afternoon. You're not going to listen. I shook my head. I've already heard enough in her actions. Words won't change what's happened. Late at night, alone, I thought about the love I once carried for her. It wasn't gone entirely. It lingered, a quiet ache, but it had transformed. It was no longer blind or naive. It was tempered by experience, hardened by betrayal. I whispered to myself, this is justice in its purest form. Not revenge, not cruelty, just life showing consequences. She made her choices, and now she lives with them. Claire's presence became my anchor. You're doing this without hatred, she said one evening. I am, I replied. I can't let bitterness guide me. That would mean letting her ruin me still. I've taken control, not through rage, but through patience. That's how she feels it, through my absence, through her own mistakes. Weeks passed. Emma's social circle turned cold. Work opportunities slipped away. Rumors about her betrayal circulated, whispered in rooms she once dominated. I didn't need to intervene. Silence and composure had become my weapon. And as I sat in my apartment one quiet night, staring at the city lights, I felt a strange sense of calm. Not triumph. Not joy. Just balance. The universe had a way of correcting itself. I had only to hold my line, stay patient, and watch. Let her learn, I whispered. Let her understand what she lost, and let her rebuild her life from the consequences she chose. I'll be here, steady, unbroken. And one day, maybe then, I'll move forward too. I never expected to meet someone like Anna. It was a Thursday morning at the cafe near my office. I was scrolling through emails, barely noticing the world around me, when she approached with a warm smile. "Excuse me," she said gently. "Is this seat taken?" I looked up, startled by the kindness in her eyes. "No, go ahead." She settled in, arranging her notebook and coffee with careful calm. "I'm Anna," she said. "I don't think we've met before." "Michael," I replied, still unsure how to respond. Social interaction had felt heavy lately, almost dangerous. "Michael, nice to meet you. You look thoughtful." She smiled faintly, as if she could read right through me. "Just busy," I said, but she didn't push. She simply nodded, letting the silence exist without pressure. It was refreshing. Over the next few weeks, our encounters became routine. She didn't pry about my past. She didn't ask about Emma. Instead, she asked simple questions, listened intently, and responded with a gentle honesty that slowly chipped away at the tension I carried. "Your hands are tense," she observed one afternoon as I fidgeted with my pen. "You hold a lot inside." "I've had reasons," I admitted cautiously. Anna nodded, understanding. "I've been there. Sometimes, holding too much doesn't help anyone, not even yourself." Her words were soft, yet they cut deeper than any argument or confrontation. I realized that for the first time in months, I didn't feel the need to defend myself, to hide the weight I carried. I could just be. Then came the unexpected call. "Emma." "Michael, please, I need to talk." Her voice trembled. "I've realized everything. I've lost everything, and it's my fault. Can we meet?" I closed my eyes, feeling the old mix of anger, pain, and pity. But this time, I didn't falter. "Emma," I said, my tone calm, steady. "We've been through this. You made your choices. I won't undo them. I can't. But, please, I can change. I'll do anything," she pleaded. I leaned back, silence stretching long between us. "Anything? You had chances, 3 of them. You chose your path. I'm not the person who will rescue you from your own decisions." Her sobs were audible even over the phone. "Michael, please. I love you. I've made a mistake." I cut her off gently but firmly. "Love isn't enough when trust is destroyed, Emma. I loved you, I trusted you, but that time is gone. I'm not bitter, I'm free. You need to learn that your actions have consequences." She went silent, and for the first time, I felt peace. Later that evening, I met Anna for coffee. I told her nothing of the call, only my relief at staying firm, at not succumbing to old patterns. "You're different," she said softly, noticing the calm in my eyes. "You're not running, you're present." "I've learned a lot," I admitted. "About patience, about letting people face their own mistakes, about not letting betrayal define me." Anna reached across the table, lightly touching my hand. "And about healing. You're allowing yourself to heal. That's something most people never do." Her touch was grounding. Her presence was stabilizing. I realized that life could feel full again without chaos, without constant fear of betrayal. I could feel hope, not for revenge, not for what was lost, but for what I might gain. The following week, Emma attempted one last desperate approach in person. I ran into her at a mutual friend's gathering. She froze when she saw me, panic in her eyes. "Michael, please, I raised a hand gently, stopping her. "Emma, this ends here. I won't continue the cycle of pain. I've learned my limits, and I'm standing by them." Tears streamed down her face. "But I've changed. Please. I know who you are. I know what you chose. I won't undo that. My life is no longer dictated by your decisions. I'm done with the past." She fell silent, realizing the finality in my voice. And for the first time, I saw her truly understand that I would not bend, not out of cruelty, but out of self-respect. Later that night, Anna and I walked through the quiet streets. She glanced at me with a soft smile. "You handled that well." "I had to," I said, letting the weight of months finally lift. "It's not about punishment. It's about recognizing my own value and not letting anyone diminish it again." She squeezed my hand lightly. "You're ready for the next chapter. I can feel it." And I knew she was right. My life wasn't about Emma anymore. It wasn't about revenge, regret, or lingering pain. It was about me, my growth, my healing, my future. As we walked together, the city lights reflecting off the pavement, I whispered to myself, steady and clear, "This is freedom. This is choice. This is life I own. And nothing, no one, can take it from me." For the first time in what felt like forever, I felt whole. I held the envelope in my hand like a weight I had carried too long. The divorce papers were final, signed, stamped, and ready. No theatrics. No confrontation. Just truth, plain and simple. I heard a soft knock on the door. "Michael." Emma's voice trembled. "Can we talk?" I exhaled slowly, steadying myself. "Emma, I think we've said everything we needed to say." I just..." Her voice cracked. "Please, I can explain. I made mistakes, but I let her words hang in the air. You made your choices. And I've made mine." Her silence followed. I could hear her breathing, uneven, panicked. I didn't realize," she whispered finally. "I didn't think I'd lose you. I never imagined it would come to this." I looked at her, my expression calm. "It's not about losing me. It's about what you did and how you treated what we had. I've given you chances, more than anyone should. And now, it's over." Tears welled in her eyes. "Michael, please, I love you. I'll change. We can fix this." I shook my head gently. Love isn't enough. Not when trust is gone. Not after betrayal. I wanted to believe it could be different, but I can't go back. My life isn't yours to manipulate or ruin anymore. She sank into the chair across from me, defeated. "I wasted everything, all 3 chances you gave me." "I know," I said softly. "And I hope you feel that, not for punishment, but for understanding. Choices have consequences. Actions have weight." The silence was heavy, but it wasn't bitter. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. I had already lived through heartbreak, anger, and disappointment. Now, all I felt was calm. I set the papers on the table. "This is the final step. Sign it. Move forward. And I will do the same." Emma's hand hovered over the documents, trembling. I can't believe this." "You should have realized before," I replied. "But life teaches in its own way. Sometimes lessons come late. You've learned yours." She lowered her gaze, silent now, the weight of regret settling over her like a heavy fog. Later, after she left, I sat in the quiet apartment, the silence different this time, not empty, but full of possibility. I pulled out a photo of us from happier times. A smile formed on my lips, tinged with sorrow but free of bitterness. "I almost lost myself over this," I whispered to the image. "Almost let her decisions define me. But I didn't. I survived. I endured. I grew." I found an old letter she had written me long ago, tucked away in a drawer. I read it slowly, every word a reminder of trust once given freely. Then I set it aside, letting the past rest. Claire's voice echoed in my memory. "Strength isn't about revenge. It's about holding yourself steady when the world shakes around you." I smiled faintly. She had been right. I had held myself steady. I had reclaimed my life. The sun dipped low outside, golden light spilling into the room. I glanced at the empty chair where she once sat, and felt neither anger nor sadness. Just clarity. Anna's gentle voice came to mind, the first time I realized I could heal without forgetting, without closing off entirely. "You're ready for the next chapter," she had said. And I was. I placed the photo back in its frame, neatly, with care. A memory, preserved. Not a chain. Not a burden. Just a lesson in love, trust, and patience. My phone buzzed, a message from Anna. "Coffee tomorrow?" I smiled, the future opening quietly before me. "Yes," I typed. "Tomorrow." I looked around my apartment, at the life I had rebuilt, at the calm I had forged through heartbreak. Emma's regret would be hers to live with. My peace, my freedom, my growth, those were mine. I whispered to myself one final time, I endured. I survived. I am whole. And with that, I let the past rest completely, closing the chapter with grace, moving forward with purpose, ready for whatever life had to offer next. The mornings felt lighter now. I woke up with a sense of calm that had been foreign for so long. The apartment no longer carried echoes of past arguments or betrayal. It carried possibilities. Anna called while I made coffee. Morning, Michael. Breakfast together. I smiled, setting down the mug. Sure. I could use some company. Her laugh was soft, easy. You sound different. I feel different, I admitted. It's like I'm finally free. Free to focus on me, my goals, and not haunted by what I can't change. She leaned closer over the table. It's nice seeing you like this. Strong, but not hardened. I had to learn it the hard way, I said, pouring cream into my coffee. I let betrayal break me once, but now I know my boundaries. My patience, it isn't weakness, it's strength. Anna's eyes softened. And it shows. You've grown so much. Later that week, Claire stopped by the office. I heard about your new project, she said. You're really moving forward. I laughed lightly. Yeah. Focusing on work feels good. I'm actually enjoying it. I've even started planning for things I always postponed. Claire tilted her head. It suits you. You're more alive than before. I nodded, thinking about all the nights I spent replaying Emma's betrayals in my mind, imagining the worst. Those nights taught me patience, resilience, and self-respect. Now, I had clarity, and I wasn't wasting it. Have you talked to her at all? Claire asked cautiously. I shook my head. No need. The past is closed. I'm not bitter, just focused on my own life. That evening, Anna and I walked through the park near my apartment. Golden sunlight filtered through the trees, and for the first time in a long while, I felt entirely present. I like this, she said softly, glancing at me. No stress, no ghosts. Exactly, I said. Life can't be lived constantly looking back. I've had my lessons. I've had my heartbreak. Now it's about what I build going forward. She smiled, hand brushing against mine. And you're doing it well. You've earned this peace. We paused by a fountain, the water sparkling in the late afternoon light. I realized how much I had changed, not just in love, but in trust, patience, and understanding. Betrayal had forced me to confront my values, my pride, and my own emotional strength. And now I carried those lessons like armor, invisible but unshakable. I used to think strength was about control, I confessed. Now I know it's about knowing when to step back, when to let others face their own choices, and when to protect yourself. Anna nodded, squeezing my hand. And you've done that. You've transformed. Heartache didn't break you, it shaped you. I laughed softly. Funny how it works. Pain felt unbearable at the time. Now it feels purposeful. Every betrayal, every disappointment led me here. Later, over dinner at a small restaurant, I realized how natural it felt to enjoy someone's company without fear, without the tension of past betrayals. Anna laughed at a joke I made, and I felt my chest loosen in a way I hadn't for months. I like seeing you happy, she said, eyes sparkling. It's easy when the weight is gone, I replied. When you've faced betrayal and survived, even the little joys feel monumental. After dinner, we walk home, hands intertwined. I looked at her and felt a quiet certainty. Life was no longer dictated by past mistakes or heartbreak. It was mine, to shape, to grow, to cherish. Later, as I prepared for bed, I reflected on how far I'd come. Emma's betrayal had cut deep, but it forced me to understand my own worth. My patience, my moral clarity, and my self-respect had become my compass. I whispered to myself, a smile forming despite the exhaustion of growth. I endured. I learned. I grew. And now, I begin anew. The city lights flickered outside the window, but I felt steady, grounded, ready. The pain of the past no longer controlled me. It had transformed into strength. And as I drifted to sleep, I knew I was not only surviving, I was truly living. I sat on the balcony that evening, the city humming softly below. The air was cool, carrying the faint scent of flowers from the park nearby. Anna was inside, humming as she prepared tea, and I felt an unusual calm wash over me. You're quiet tonight, she said from the doorway, holding 2 steaming cups. Just thinking, I replied, taking one. About everything. Emma. The chances I gave. How it all unfolded. Anna joined me, settling across from me on the balcony chair. Do you regret it? I shook my head. No, not really. I wonder sometimes, what if I had acted differently? Confronted her sooner, walked away immediately, or held on tighter. But those thoughts aren't regrets. They're lessons. Anna sipped her tea. Lessons are more valuable than regrets. You've grown because of them. I smiled faintly. It's strange. I spent so much time thinking I'd been broken beyond repair. And yet, here I am, stronger, calmer, more aware of who I am, what I deserve. She nodded, eyes soft. And now you can see clearly what matters. Yes, I said, tracing the rim of the cup. The 3 chances I gave, each one tested my patience, my trust, my ability to forgive. And each one taught me something. Not about her, but about me. About boundaries, self-respect, and the importance of holding myself steady. Anna reached across, gently brushing my hand. You've built yourself back up without bitterness. That's rare. I looked out at the city lights, their reflections dancing in a glass. I think people often misunderstand strength. They think it's about fighting back, about revenge or showing others you're unbreakable. But true strength is quiet. It's calm. It's surviving the storm without losing yourself. Anna's smile widened. And you've done that. I've seen it. I leaned back, letting the chair support me. Emma's choices shaped part of my path, yes. But they didn't define me. I could have let betrayal consume me. I could have clung to anger. But I didn't.
I chose myself.
She raised an eyebrow, playful yet knowing. That's impressive. And rare. I chuckled softly. I've learned that holding on to pain only keeps you trapped. Let it teach you, let it guide you, but don't let it become chains. I can remember Emma, remember the heartbreak, without being a prisoner of it. Anna's hand found mine again. And now you're free to build something better. Someone better, together. Yes, I admitted, warmth spreading through me. Together, yes. But even if she hadn't come into my life, even if betrayal had been the end of everything, I'd still have grown. I'd still have learned my worth. The wind shifted, carrying a faint reminder of all the moments I had lived, the laughter, the pain, the silent nights replaying every word, every choice. And I realized how far I'd come. Do you think she'll ever understand? Anna asked quietly. I shook my head, a small, serene smile on my face. Maybe. Or maybe she won't. It doesn't matter. Understanding isn't mine to give or wait for. My path isn't about her anymore. It's about me. And that clarity, that peace, it's everything. Anna squeezed my hand gently. I'm glad I get to share this with you. I looked at her, warmth flooding my chest. Me too. Life moves on. It always does. And now I know that the past, even heartbreak, can become wisdom. Even pain can become a guide. We sat in silence then, sipping tea, watching the city glow. And for the first time in a long time, I felt completely unburdened. My heart carried memories, yes, but also strength. My soul carried lessons, yes, but also freedom. And I whispered softly, to no one but myself, I endured, I learned, and I'm ready for everything that comes next.